that if you, as like a friend, know that one of your friends is really struggling, I would really encourage you, as a concerned friend, to reach out to an adult. That could be a teacher, that could be a counselor, that could be a parent. Because I think, sometimes teenagers, you guys try to do it all on your own. And sometimes you don't want like adults to get involved. But if you're really concerned about someone and their mental health, I think that is absolutely a crucial time to let an adult know. So that's what I would say about, if you have a friend that's struggling.
Definitely.
If you yourself are struggling, I think I'd give you kind of the same advice to reach out, to talk to people that, if you're going through a tough time, if you're feeling anxious, if you're feeling depressed, those are all such valid feelings, and we all experience them on some level. So it's not out of the ordinary to have some really, really hard days. That being said, if you feel like you're having more hard days than good days, it's probably a good time to check in with someone, and there are so many avenues of support, and that doesn't have to be therapy, right? That doesn't have to be counseling, but there's so many other avenues to kind of try to figure out what's going on for you, and that you shouldn't have, the biggest thing is that you shouldn't feel like you have to go at it alone, ever.
Well, I think the biggest thing often when we are struggling or down is, we want to feel heard. And so just being there and creating safe spaces for our friends is huge.
Totally. Yeah.
That's kind of number one. And then also, depending on the level of concern, I think being that trusted source is so important. But encouraging our friends to also seek out further support, again, from an adult at school or a parent, and making that seem okay and encouraging that is really helpful as well. But number one, I think that listening piece is what many crave.
There's a lot of supports that are available to learn about how to support a friend who's having a really deep struggle, and being present and available to that friend, even if they're in a dark place, is really important. We have the Hope Squad here at Truckee High School, which is a really useful group of students who's learning about skills to support a friend who is in need and maybe says scary things that need some resources that are much, much greater than you as a student have the capacity to handle. That is a really big thing. But
I think we would love to connect students who are struggling day to day with some more supports. Step one, please come see your counselor, because we do have a lot of resources that we can share out with students. I think one thing, and it is so important, that students, high school students, really do rely on their friends and their peers, and that's important. That's a really meaningful support. However, sometimes we have challenges that we also need to bring an adult into the room as well, and sometimes it's hard when the adult is someone who we feel like knows us in other contexts. So a lot of times counselors at school can chat with you or also help refer students to an outside therapist. It can be really helpful to work with an outside counselor or therapist who can be an unbiased person in your world, a trusted adult that one can express themselves, and that person doesn't have a stake in the game. They're not going to have opinions. They're not, your families and your friends love you and have opinions, as they should, because they're a part of your world. Sometimes when we get an outside person in that can help bring us clarity on where to go so we can be that person we want to be in our personal relationships. So that would be one thing, is not to underestimate the power of getting additional support from outside professionals. And again, your school counselor is a good place to start if you need support in getting that. And we can also find ways to help you have those conversations with the people in your lives, whether it's your parents or your friends, if that is one of the challenges.
It's something I've been settling in and talking a lot about with students lately, is recognizing all of our mental health on a more daily basis and a more frequent level. And if we can spend more time addressing like how we actually feel in the course of every day, it helps us know a pattern of our own ups and downs that happen. We all have health, we all have mental health, and it needs attention a lot of the time, even when we're having good days. And the more comfortable we feel about talking about the good days and the ups and downs that we feel, and even the days that don't feel so good, then there's more awareness and more support when those days that feel like they're lower happen. Another follow-up from that is like when we can recognize the things that make us feel good on those good days, we can identify some of the parts of those good days as strategies that might help us feel a little bit better when we're in a dip and not feeling as well. So that it's mental health is something that happens within each of us, but it really can also be a team effort to support each other and be present and provide that comfort for all of our friends when we're in times of need.